All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm Erica, running OT on Instagram, and I wanted to talk about this because I, for a fact, know that this is something where I fell short as a runner. I have, since I was in college, was really stuck on pace, goals, and volume, and doing all the things so that I could try to get faster, but this led to burnout, injury, and a lot of frustration. So this is why this is very important to me, because I find a lot of runners are falling into the same trap. They feel like, you have to follow a training plan to the T and do the miles and hit the paces. And one thing that we are seeing a lot of is that so many runners struggle with listening to their body and understanding effort. So I love to train on effort because, for reasons: we avoid injuries and we manage fatigue in a healthy way. We are able to adapt to the conditions because there are going to be so many factors that impact your pace, your heart rate, or what you can do. So we have to understand how these conditions impact our effort levels. So things like weather, the terrain, then how you slept, your stress levels, how you ate, how you feel. There's so many things externally that are impacting how we perform and train. So we need to be in tune with how we need to change our training and our effort levels based on all the things that are going on. Number 3, we use effort-based training so that we're building endurance and speed without adding unnecessary stress. And then we're using the stress positively in a way that is leading us towards our goals versus just stressing our body too much or not enough. So this is going to be a perfect way to pave that path to the direction that we want to go towards whatever goals that you have set for yourself. And then the last thing is we become in tune with our body. We listen to our body's cues, what it's telling us, and are able to adjust, modify, adapt based on what we are feeling, okay? So we're not just a slave to our watch. We understand our body. We know how to modify and adapt based on what's going on. So I'm just going to throw this in here because one thing that also comes up, and this is something that's so important because I know this was hard for me. And like I said earlier, I was stuck, frustrated, feeling like this is my peak and I'm not getting any faster. So I thought that I just need to push more, go harder, do more, and not really listen to my body. And I felt like going easy was a sign of weakness, right? And recovering was, I was wasting time. Easy runs are just as important as your hard efforts. So just throwing that in there, but how can we trust our efforts? So when I started to trust my effort and lean into this is where it all happened for me. I started to improve. I was just trying to Boston qualify. I kept getting faster because I was literally tapping into my efforts in the right way. Like my body recover, really pushing myself when it mattered the most. And I not only qualified for Boston, but I ended up making it to the Olympic trials. That is a goal that I never even imagined. Literally, that was not even on my radar when I started training for marathons. So the fact that happened to me when I was just trying to qualify for Boston is just a testament to really honoring and listening to your body. So throwing this in here, trusting the efforts. Okay, so how to do that? How do we make that shift? And so first, we really have to run by feel first. And then we check our watch and our paces later. Effort is king. If you can learn how to run by effort, you are just going to go so far on your run journey because you understand your body, right? You know how much gas you should be putting and when you should let off. And it's going to be such an important skill. So run by effort first, then check your watch to see where you're at, okay? And track your effort levels in a journal. This is what I preach to my athletes every single day. Like after you're done with the run, jot down exactly how you felt, what went well, what didn't, what did you experience. Go through that reflection that I just shared because this is going to be where you are learning yourself. Once you gain that insight, you are going to be unstoppable because you know yourself, you know your body, right? And that's the biggest secret, is like really being in tune with your body and knowing the effort levels and just matching it. And then as you're going to get good, you're going to know how to hit your paces based on your efforts. Like it's that the paces come second, first effort, okay? Okay, so tracking our efforts in a journal, jot them down, note, document. This is going to be so valuable. And then use your cues. Check in with your body. What is your breathing like? How are your muscles in your body and your legs? And how are they heavy? Are they tired? Are they fatigued? And then find your rhythm. Get into your groove. This is going to come with practice. It's going to be hard at first. You can't start off right away and know this is easy, this is hard, this is, it's going to take repetition. So doing it over and over and over and over, documenting, reflecting. This is the boring stuff that no one talks about, but this, I promise you, is going to take you to the next level, okay? And then with everything, like I said, give yourself grace. Progress is not going to be linear no matter how well you do it, but you're learning and growing every single time. So take what you learn, take however the run went, learn from it, adjust, modify, adapt. And this is what the cycle that we go through, okay? Process it. It's so helpful to have someone to be right there by your side to help you process this stuff too, who knows your training and who knows exactly what you're going through and what is going through your mind. Just so if you don't have some support or someone to keep you accountable or someone to help walk with you, please let me know and we can connect later if that's something that you need. But like I said, give yourself grace, and then at the end of the day, this is all about your mindset. So we're no longer focusing on your pace, your volume, we are tapping into your effort. This is, like I said, such a valuable skill that is going to be the difference between you burning out or you thriving. Like burning out, injured, or just getting frustrated. Like those are the risks. Unless you learn this, those are the things that could happen. So that's my take on this whole thing. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought, and if you have anything to say about it, like, what is your experience with this? Do you understand? Do you trust yourself to run by effort? How do you feel about it? What are your doubts? What are your concerns? I definitely do say that there is a place for pacing, there is a place for heart rate, but honestly, above all else, effort is king, okay? So we use heart rate, we use pace just to kind of like check in with ourselves, but ultimately learning to run by effort is really the bigger deal. Because when you're out there running your races, you're not going to slow down if your paces are too fast. You're going to you should be listening to your body. In fact, I've PR'd multiple races without even a watch because I ran on effort. And you can surprise yourself if you just let your body do what it's supposed to do. Of course, train and stuff. You can train with your watch and have certain goals, but at the end of the day, effort is number one. First, we're going to talk about the different effort levels that we should be looking at. So I made this little chart here. Here are the 5 effort zones. We have recovery. And so think of it as a scale. And so from a 0 to 10, where 0 is like the most easy run you could do, and 10 is basically your hardest effort, your all-out sprint. So this is the zones that we're going to be looking at. There's recovery, where it's like about a 0 to 2. That should feel super easy. You can have full conversations. You are really like there. It's just recovery. Your body is resting, adjusting, adapting in this zone, okay? This benefit here is we are wanting to recover from likely a harder effort or in preparation for a hard effort, okay? We are promoting blood flow, and this is just at a cellular physiological level. Things are happening in your body that is allowing your body to grow and adjust and adapt to the demands of training that you've been putting on it through. So whether you're resting or doing a super, super easy, slow run, almost like you're walking, like literally, I always say that there is no such thing as too slow as a recovery run for endurance athletes that are training for like the marathon and longer events. All right. If you are a sprinter or a miler, or this might not, I'm not going to talk to this. We're talking on these endurance longer distance, anything above a 5K essentially. Okay. And then your 3 to 4 on your RPA scale is your steady pace. This is comfortable. You should be able to run for an extended period of time. Okay. Your breathing is controlled. Everything's feeling relatively fair. It's not hard at all. You should be able to run at this. This is a lot of times the place where you're going to be really building your aerobic endurance, your base building. Like I said, it's very comfortable. It's through 3 to 4. Okay. And then marathon pace is around 5 or 6 on the scale. It's a controlled effort, and you should be able to sustain it for a long period of time. You know, the longer you end up running, the harder it'll feel. So being mindful of that, controlling the pace, you still should be able to have control of this effort. This is going to improve your efficiency, and this is really great pacing for, you know, your race, especially for those marathon pace miles, obviously. Okay, and then we have threshold, which is about a 7 to 8 on the scale. This is hard, but it's also controlled, okay? You are not redlining, you are just below that, okay? Here we're going to be building your strength and increase your lactic threshold. So threshold, you don't want to be able, you want to be able to still be in control of this pace, but it should be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, comfortably uncomfortable. Maybe that's marathon pace. Marathon pace is comfortably uncomfortable. This is it's starting to get uncomfortable here. I don't think that you should be able to run more than, you know, a mile or 2 at this pace. All right, then we have intervals. These are going to be shorter intervals, shorter distance repetitions. You will be at about a 9 or a 10 on your RPE scale. It's pretty much like you're running all out, like your end of your race. You're sprinting, you're giving it all you have. These are for shorter distances, usually less than like 800 meters, 400 meters more likely, 200, 1 minute repeats, like 30 seconds strides, you know, where like you're all out. Strides are actually more of like a bell curve, so we won't get into that. But basically, this is an all out max effort. You are breathing, like definitely is labored, and you should need a full recovery. You'll need a full recovery in order to go again. So you need that time in the middle of it. Whereas with some of the other paces like marathon pace or threshold, you should need a shorter recovery to get back into that pace. Okay, and so here, this is going to be developing your top end speed and your power. And I don't know, I cut off the last little bit there. All right, so how do we apply effort-based training in your runs? This is how the setup should be. So when you are looking at a training plan to decide whether or not you're putting in the right efforts in the right places, 80% of your training, whatever time you spend running, 80% of it should be about in the 0 to 4 range, okay? In your easy, maybe the steady range, to just build up the aerobic engine. Now, endurance events, anything above the 5K, you're mainly relying on your aerobic engine. So this is going to be very important for us. Even if you're doing a 5K, most of your runs should be in the easy range, okay? And then when we do our long runs, so how to tackle your long runs? Well, at first, they should all be easy, but as you start to feel stronger and more capable, you want to start to finish your long runs in about the 5 to 6 range. And that's going to be natural. Like even if you're striving to be easy, just because of the duration of time out there, you're naturally going to start to get into those higher ranges. And that's just because you get tired, you get more fatigued. It's pretty natural to finish in the 5 or 6 range. And that's generally okay if you're going by effort. Now it doesn't mean that because at 5 to 6 is marathon pace, you have to finish at marathon pace. That's not the idea. It's just the effort will feel a little bit more difficult. And it's okay if you want it to, if your long runs, if you want them to still feel easy, then don't worry about slowing down your pace so that you finish in the easy range, okay? And we can talk a little bit more about specifically how to tackle your long runs based on how you're doing with each of your sessions. So it's important for you to reflect, and we'll talk about that in just a second, okay? For tempo runs, so these should be about 7 to 8, and this is kind of where you're going to be tapping into some of your specific pacing work. So if you have like a goal for your marathon or your whatever distance you're going to do, some of these runs will be at around that pace. And then of course you have speed work. 20% of your volume should be with speed, okay? So this means that you're going to have some intervals, preferably on a track or a treadmill or on a trail, doesn't matter, where you're turning over. You have a variety in your pace. There should be a good a good amount of time between your easy pace and your speed paces, okay? If your speed and your easy runs are not that different, there can be a want to try to make a pretty big gap there of at least 2 to 3 minutes between your easy pace and your all-out effort. So if there's not, those are things that you need to kind of explore as far as like how you're putting forth the effort and how you can extend that gap. You want there to be a good amount of time distance. So for example, an easy pace can be a 10-minute mile, and a speed could be like a 7-minute mile or 8-minute mile. So you have 2 to 3 minutes of variable. You want it to be polarized is what we also say. Like easies are really easy and your speed work is pretty hard. So that is kind of how you are going to distribute your effort throughout your volume. And then let's go ahead and take a look at, let's see, a sample week of training. And this is for 6 days of running and 1 rest day. But you can distribute this however you feel or however you see fit. Easy runs can also be rest days, okay? Easier recovery runs can be rest days because it's doing the same thing. We're really giving your body a chance to recover. So easy on a Monday, speed on a Tuesday, Wednesday recovery, Thursday tempo run, Friday's rest or cross training, and then Saturday long run, Sunday an easier recovery run. So this is how you can set it up. Do you see how the effort levels are kind of distributed? A 3 and then a 9 and then 0 and to 2 and then 7. So you really want to add this variety to your training to really stimulate the responses that we're trying to get from your body to learn to adjust and understand the demands of what you're going to be experiencing on race day. So this is just really good for your body to really get used to different stimulation, different intensities. It's really good for your body, especially if you're stuck in a plateau and if you're not, like if you're, like when I say plateau is like you're stuck at the same pace, you keep doing races in the same paces, you can't improve, you're not seeing any PRs, or even worse, you're seeing a decline in your performance. So look at how you are setting up your training, the structure of it. Are you giving yourself enough stimulation and variety in your training? And that's something that we should be looking at. All right, so just a note on that too is adjust all of this based on how you feel. Really wouldn't be married to a specific pace or even heart rate, because that is so variable depending on so many factors. If we can learn how certain paces should feel or efforts should feel, we are likely better to thrive. Okay, so learn to listen to your body, learn to acknowledge and understand and become aware of what your body is communicating and how to adjust your training. You are going to be setting yourself up for so much success in the long run, and this is a skill that I really, really want you to learn and understand if you want to thrive on your run journey. Okay, so how it should feel. So if you're always stressing over pace, slow down first and focus on effort. If you're always exhausted, reassess your recovery and adjust hard efforts. So if you're feeling stuck, like I said, mix it up to stimulate the progress that we're looking for. Okay, and so here is a little checklist, here we go, that you should really take into consideration as you are doing any of your day. Every single day, this is something that you should just mentally go through before, during, and after your runs. Okay, so let's go through that. Before your runs, let's set your intention. Okay, what is the goal for this run? Is it a recovery run, endurance? Am I trying to get some speed here? And then visualize the efforts before you even start running. Just kind of recall how the RPE should feel, and just think about like where your body where you should be, like how you should be feeling the effort, right? Is it supposed to feel easy? Is it supposed to be relaxed? I do have a more detailed breakdown, but I did not put that in this. If you want that, you can let me know. I'll send you the detail on very specifically how your legs, how your lungs, how your mind, like everything, how like very detailed efforts. Okay, and then while you're warming up, this is a good time for you to kind of like assess, like, how does my body feel as I'm starting this workout? And I will say this, never trust how a run is going to go based on the warm up, but do use this time to kind of think about, like, how did I sleep? How did I eat? What are my stress levels like? What's going on? And how is the weather? Like, all the factors that could be impacting your workout today, and adjust, right? And so I always say, sometimes at my run, when I first start, I'm like, this is gonna be such a nightmare. Like, I feel like so heavy. I didn't sleep well. Like, I always say all these negative things. This is just very natural, and I'm already expecting the worst. And so when I start my efforts, I don't start all out. I kind of ease into it. So I'm like, based on how I'm feeling, I'm adjusting my expectations, and I'm going to start at this level. And then as I go, I'm like, wow, I'm starting to feel better. And then I just kind of like ease into like a harder effort, or kind of where I feel like I should be. And so that's just how I naturally progress, especially like intervals. If I have like say 10 1-minute repeats, I kind of start off kind of a little underperforming, undershooting the effort, and then locking kind of like into the effort, and then maybe a little bit faster than finishing off a little faster. So it's kind of like almost like a progression naturally. And so I do that because during my warm up, I'm checking in with myself, and I'm almost adjusting the expectations based on how I'm feeling. And so you do that at the beginning, and then during your run, this is where I use cues at regular intervals every so often to kind of check in with myself. How is my body doing? I'm checking in with how my form is, what are my arms, legs, and core. Am I feeling relaxed, loosen up? And I give myself mental cues as I go. Then I go with my breathing. Am I doing, breathing controlled? How am I breathing? What does it feel like? And then assessing my fatigue levels, and am I in control? Like, can I sustain this for, I have 6 more minutes of this pace. Can I hold it? And then I have to do that 2 more times or whatever. You're constantly assessing. You're becoming aware of yourself. You're gaining insight and awareness of what your body is doing and how you can respond. How can you adjust versus trying to hang on for dear life and then having to slow down significantly, and then the effort's like way harder than it really should be because you weren't really controlling at the very beginning and doing these check-ins early enough. So do this in a regular interval and continually to check in with yourself, okay? Of course, we talked about form. And then once the run is complete, you continue to reflect, right? You post-run reflection, and you think about what happened in that run. You're evaluating, did your effort match the goal for this run? Did it, or what happened? Think about it. And at any point, did you feel like you were going too hard or too easy for the workout that you were doing? What adjustments can you make so that you stay on track next time? Okay, so we're assessing, and where exactly did you notice? Did you notice your pace slow down? And why was that? Is it because you started off way too fast, or did you notice you were going faster towards the end? Is it because you were too conservative? So this is all insights for us to use for the future. And every single one, we're learning, we're growing, and we're becoming better. Okay, all right. I think, let's see. Last thing, I think that's it. All right, and so if you're not already working with me and you want some more support on this, you want to master your effort-based training with custom support tailored to you, then you can absolutely reach out to me. You can follow me on Instagram. You could DM me and ask more questions. I'm here to support you. You can also book a free strategy call with me using this link. I'm not sure if you can have access to it, but this is what it is. You can always get this link through me on Instagram. Reach out to me, let me know how I can support you, how I can help you if you'd like to book a call with me, and we can kind of dive into what you're doing and how I can support you if it makes sense for both of us. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.